Greetings, folks. This is Diamond12 back again, another video. Um, this video is basically for me to review Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which, in my mind, and I'm gonna explain more of this later, but it's one of the best Marvel movies yet. Yes, I said it. I mean, I'm not saying it's fully better than the Avengers, but I think I'll put it like right up there with the Avengers. I probably say the Avengers, and this is how I see it: the Avengers, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Iron Man 1, the first Iron Man movie. Iron Man 1 was pretty raw. Anyway, let me get into this video. I don't want to make this video any longer than what it already has to be because I got a lot to talk about. I got little notes jotted on my phone, so I got my notes right here. But anyway, but first I'm gonna tell you guys about my initial reaction to the movie. Well, of course I loved it, but I'll really give you guys a brief synopsis of the movie. And I will say there will be some spoilers in this movie, this review. I will be doing spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, and you don't want to hear any spoilers, you might want to click off this video. But anyway, and then after you go see the movie, come back to this video. But anyway, I'm pre-warning you that there will be spoilers in this movie, in this review. I don't know why I want to keep saying a movie like this is a movie, but anyway, but yeah, the initial like plot of the movie is basically like Shield has um this little initiative, I think an initiative called Project Insight, which is basically like they have all these helicarriers and they basically have all kinds of missiles and guns on them, basically to protect people. And Nick Fury and Captain America actually have this little conversation about, and how Cap doesn't really agree with. He basically says how, and yeah, actually you guys have seen in the previews and like the trailers that he says this is a protection, this is fear, which basically like they basically trying to the Shield basically trying to call themselves trying to protect people, but in actuality they're really trying to like kill people and take people out, which we will find out later on in the movie. But um, so yeah, Cap and Nick Fury are basically at odds, and Nick Fury is basically trying to figure out. So apparently somebody that basically erased his whole, basically him even being a part of Shield. Someone basically has erased his whole, well, I guess, existence of being a part of Shield. And he's trying to get to the bottom of figuring out how he did, well, basically who did it. And then some stuff goes on, and we wind up seeing Alexander Pierce played by Robert Redford. Which I will say this when I'm gonna really say this when I talk about the characters. But so he meets up with Nick Fury meets up with Alexander Pierce, who's having a meeting with the council from like the Avengers. I don't know, the council from the Avengers. Not Nick Fury. Alexander Pierce is having a conversation, basically having a conversation with them about Project Insight. And Nick Fury basically wants to know like who wiped him out of the Shield database and whatnot. And apparently Alexander Pierce doesn't really know, but you can basically throughout the whole movie tell each time the character Alexander Pierce is on the screen, you can tell he's basically gonna wind up becoming being the bad guy of the movie. But anyway, but yeah, so Cap winds up well, I think I got some backtracking. The first in the movie, Cap actually meets Sam Wilson, who's basically who in this version is retired veteran, war veteran, and he and Cap basically first in the movie are basically running. They basically run around. I think the Lincoln Monument. I think something like the Lincoln Memorial in Washington. They're basically running, and they basically run every morning. He and Sam Wilson. So that's how Sam Wilson and Cap meet. But anyway, but anyway, Project Insight is a go, but um, Nick Fury is basically on his way basically to basically he wants to know who basically wiped his who wiped his information out of the Shield database. And while he's on his way to do that, he basically gets bombarded by a whole bunch of cops, rogue cops. They basically like, this is actually a pretty good action scene, pretty good chase scene. They basically just shooting his car up, and basically they get this little crane. I want to say like a little crane looking thing, and they basically just keep constantly bashing Nick Fury's Nick Fury's windows out. And it was actually kind of cool how he basically Nick Fury basically talking to the car and basically having the car do certain things and whatnot. And while the car, meanwhile while his car is being shot up. So basically, anyway, but he eventually does get out. He eventually does get away, but not before the Winter Soldier pops up, which I'll talk about the Winter Soldier a little bit more after when I get excuse me, when I start talking about the characters. But anyway, Winter Soldier basically shoots a bomb underneath Nick, like they've been showing in the previews and the trailers. Shoots a bomb underneath Nick Fury's car. It basically blows up. But before he can finish Nick Fury off, Nick basically has some little device. He basically just drills a hole in the ground so he can basically drill a hole in the car and basically gets out of the car. But anyway, so he winds up at Steve Rogers' apartment, and Steve basically wants to know why he's there, and he basically gives him this little, like, I guess it's like a UPS, maybe like a USB port, and out of nowhere Nick Fury just gets shot. He basically gets shot, and Cap basically he gets shot by the Winter Soldier, and basically he's presumed dead. But anyway, Cap basically is chasing down the Winter Soldier, and then there's that epic scene. Then we get to that epic scene where Winter Soldier Cap throws his shield at Winter Soldier, and he basically just turns around and catches it. But anyway, moving on from that, we later found out when Nick Fury is basically presumed dead, announced dead. Alexander Pierce basically is trying to track down whoever killed Nick Fury, even though we know he knows who killed Nick Fury. So he basically says Captain America. He basically said puts Captain America, make Captain America a fugitive because he basically says Alexander Pierce basically wants people to believe Captain America knows something about who killed Nick Fury, and he basically puts Captain America, makes him basically a fugitive and whatnot. And so Cap and Black Widow, who I actually loved in this movie, I love Black Widow in this movie. They basically are going around trying to figure out what was on that USB port that Nick Fury gave Cap, and before he died, Nick Fury apparently died. He tells Cap to basically don't trust anyone. Basically tells him don't trust anyone. But anyway, so they wind up Cap and Black Widow. They wind up Natasha with the same thing. Natasha, Black Widow. They wind up going to New Jersey and basically finding. In long story short, they basically go to this place in New Jersey. Go to the place where Cap trained, and like when he first got he first joined the army in the first movie. We trained and whatnot, and got all his training and whatnot, and so they basically wind up going basically figuring out where Shield was originated at, and so they wind up putting the USB port in the computer, and out of nowhere Arnim Zola basically pops up, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one that thought this. I thought Arnim Zola was basically, when his face first popped up on that screen, I thought he was gonna wind up being MODOK, which actually would be pretty cool to see MODOK in a movie, which we might actually get to see MODOK in a movie because Marvel actually has from what I hear, Marvel has movies planned, according to Kevin Feige. Marvel has movies playing from 2028, I think. But anyway, getting back to Captain America. So yeah, Arnim Zola basically tells Captain America that basically Hydra basically helped build Shield, and basically Hydra is Shield, and Cap and Black Widow, and they basically that Project Insight is basically take out everybody, take out millions of people, and there's no way they're gonna let that happen. But anyway, long story short, Cap and Black Widow wind up getting blown up. But the building that they're in winds up getting blown up. But Cap basically protects he and Natasha with his shield. So they decide to go out and seek the help of Sam Wilson, who we all know as the Falcon. They seek the help of Sam Wilson, and they basically try to track down Jasper Sitwell, who we all know that was in the Avengers. Well, he wasn't in the Avengers. He was in Thor, and he was also in a lot of those one-shots that Marvel has done. He also was in an episode of Age of Ultron. So not Age of Ultron. He was in episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But anyway, but yeah, they basically seek out Jasper, basically track down Jasper Sitwell, and who basically turns out to be turns out to be a Hydra agent and whatnot, and but it was actually kind of funny what Cap had Black Widow basically kick Jasper Sitwell off that building. The Falcon out of nowhere, Falcon just grabs him and flies up. I actually like the use of Falcon's wings in this movie. I pretty much like the use of his wings. But anyway, moving along from that, Jasper Sitwell basically tells him, before he dies, he basically tells Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow everything that's been going on with Hydra and whatnot. And he actually name drops Stephen Strange. He basically says Bruce Banner, other people that are on the list, but I guess to be killed or something like that. But Bruce Banner and Stephen Strange. We know Bruce Banner is the Hulk. And Stephen Strange we all know is Doctor Strange. I mean, and Kevin Feige he's been very hyped about. He just Captain Strange was one of his favorite heroes. So I think probably around San Diego Comic Con we probably will get Doctor Strange movie announcement. I have a feeling we probably gonna get a Doctor Strange movie announcement around San Diego Comic Con. But anyway, but yeah, so they wind up getting basically Sitwell basically tells them that he basically tells them that what they want to know. But anyway, so Winter Soldier apparently pops up again, and he and Cap fought. Long story short, it's a big action scene where Cap and Black Widow are being attacked by Winter Soldier, and also along with Hydra agents and whatnot, and they basically fight. It's a pretty epic fight, true enough, and it's also a part of the scene where Cap basically, Winter Soldier basically punches Cap's shield, which actually was taken straight from the comics. I actually have been reading the Winter Soldier comic. I've read it like a long time ago, but actually it started like rereading it. I actually went and downloaded it on my Marvel app. Anyway, I originally read it a long time ago. Actually, a friend of mine actually had it, and I actually read his, but I actually went and downloaded it on my bought it and downloaded it on my Marvel comics app on my phone and my on my iPad. But anyway. But that was like taken straight out of the comics where Bucky Winter Soldier basically punches Cap's shield. But anyway, but yeah, they eventually escape Winter Soldier, Cap, and Black Widow and Falcon. They actually wound up getting arrested by Hydra, and while they're in in trance and basically getting ready to be carted off to jail. One of the Hydra agents basically starts attacking another Hydra agent, which it turns out that it's Maria Hill. Maria Hill disguised as a Hydra agent, and so she basically takes Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow to where Nick Fury's been hiding it. So apparently we all know Nick Fury. I'm pretty sure everybody in the whole, especially in the movie theater I was in. Everybody basically knew that Nick Fury was still alive. Nobody ever thought he was dead. But yeah, so Nick Fury's been alive this whole time. He basically faked his own death. He's done that lots of times in the comics. Nick Fury has faked his death a lot of times in the comics. And but yeah, so they basically he basically briefs Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow. He and Maria Hill briefs them on the whole Project Insight and everything. Basically how they're gonna have to shut it down and whatnot. And so but I'm telling you, this is my favorite scene. My favorite scene in the movie was basically where Alexander Pierce basically has the council members of that United Council to basically come to SHIELD headquarters or whatnot, or Hydra headquarters, I guess. And he basically pins these little things on them, basically pin these little pins on them and whatnot, and out of nowhere, one of the Hydra agents basically started. This older woman started basically kicking all the Hydra agents' ass and whatnot. Basically started kicking their ass and whatnot, and they actually kind of was freaked out. Well, not freaked out, but like kind of surprised by that. I'm like, this old lady's really kicking ass right now. And it turns out it was Black Widow in disguise and whatnot, and that was a pretty decent scene. And the long, I'm trying to wrap the synopsis up. Cause I want you guys to actually go see the movie. I mean, I don't know, I'm doing some spoilers, true enough, but I want you guys to go see the movie. But anyway, Cap and I'm also trying to remember all this stuff. Cap and Bucky, they have another fight and whatnot, and they have another fight. And long story short, Cap basically they wind up shutting down Project Insight. Some nice little bits with Falcon basically flying around and basically shooting his guns, and he actually has a pretty good good fight, pretty decent fight scene with Crossbones, who in the first of the movie, we all know he was Rumlow, but in the first of the movie, he's basically supposed to be working for Shield, but he's really working for Hydra. But he becomes more at the end of the movie. He becomes more crossbone-ish, as you would say. He becomes more crossbone-ish because they're on one of the helicarriers. He and Falcon are on one of the helicarriers to blow up, and Falcon gets out. He basically jumps out of the window and onto one of the helicopters, onto a helicopter where Black Widow and Nick Fury were at. Anyway, there's other key parts that happen in there, but I'm not gonna try to give all those away. But anyway, long story short, Cap and Bucky are basically still fighting and whatnot, and Cap basically saves Bucky from getting crushed by one of the by some of the rubble from one of the destroyed helicarriers. And anyway, he basically tries to get Bucky. He basically takes his helmet off, tries to get Bucky to remember who he is. We all know that they've been brainwashing him. Tries to get him to remember who he is and whatnot. And Bucky basically just starts beating the hell out of Cap. I mean, he basically tells him that he doesn't know. He basically tries to fight and tries not to remember. But anyway, Cap winds up falling in the water, and we basically see a hand reach down, and basically we all know we see Bucky pull Cap out of the water. He basically leaves him by the shore and whatnot. But anyway, that's pretty much the synopsis of the movie. And at the end of the movie, we basically have Nick Fury, who basically just takes off his eye patch and burns his eye patch, and basically puts on some Ray Charles type glasses, and basically says that he's headed to Europe or something like that, and he basically wants Cap to come with him, but Cap basically says he has to do something first, and he basically has something to do. He basically has to go try to find Bucky. But anyway, and Falcon's gonna go with him. But anyway, yeah, I love this movie. I mean, it was a action-packed movie. I mean, some of the action in this movie was basically great. I mean, I like how they used Cap's shield. They utilized his shield in the movie, because anyway, I know in the first Avenger movie, Captain America, the First Avenger, they really didn't use the shield that much. They didn't really utilize his shield that much. But in Avengers, they really didn't use it that much either. But in this movie, he uses his shield a lot. Anyway, let me talk about the characters. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Captain America isn't. I mean, he's a pretty decent comic book character, but in the comics, he's kind of bland. But these movies basically make him look badass. He's badass in the comic books, sure enough, but he's also one of the blandest superheroes out there. But anyway, I love Chris Evans as Captain America. But yeah, that's basically how I feel about Cap. I mean, like I said, I like how they utilize his shield. And I feel Chris Evans has really, I mean, he's a good actor, true enough, but I feel he's grown in the role. I mean, he's made the role officially. He is. But anyway, I can't see it right now. I can't see him. I really can't see anybody else playing Steve Rogers, Captain America. But anyway, but yeah, also, I mean, the other characters, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, she was sexy as hell in this movie. I mean, I found myself getting all hot and bothered every time she was on the screen. I mean, she had some kick-ass scenes in the movie. I mean, I loved her. I loved her in the movie. Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. I mean, of course. I mean, even though he wasn't really in it that much. I mean, he wasn't in it that much, but what he did in the movie, I mean, for the times he was in it, he was very enjoyable. Anthony Mackie is Falcon. Now I know my boy Brother Doug. He actually said, I mean, when they announced that Falcon was going to be in the movie, he actually said he wasn't really big on the Falcon being in this movie, but I actually think he kind of changed his mind, because Falcon was pretty badass in this movie. I mean, in the comics, Falcon's more. I mean, like I said, he's Cap's sidekick in the movie, not the movie. In the comics, he's flat out Cap's sidekick. Every time everywhere Cap goes, Falcon's like not too far behind. But anyway, but Anthony Mackie was pretty badass as Falcon in this movie. But yeah, even though I really wish, and this is something I'm gonna talk about that in the video, where I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going, and where I think a lot of these characters are gonna go. Anyway, Kobe Smulders, I think his last name is Smulders. We all know from How I Met Your Mother, which that finale pissed me off last week. But anyway,